Hey guys, I am super excited today. I'm here in Virginia Beach at a warehouse getting ready to interview Mauricio Mova. So he runs a company that does both coffee and he also produces CBD drinks. I think it's going to be fascinating to hear about his journey into this business. So let's go talk to him. All right, so I am here with Mauricio Mova, the owner operator of
Club.
the Specialty Club. Thank you. and and one thing that I'm really interested in is kind of the entrepreneurial journey and how everything started. And so you're originally from Colombia, correct?
Yes, I came here in 1997.
And you came here because you were in a band.
That's correct. Yeah, music brought me here. We, after well, same high school band
Hmm.
that I was playing since I was a little boy. I started
Hmm.
playing guitar when I was like 12 years old.
Ah, okay.
So I had a band all the way through high school, and then when we went to college, we kept on playing with the band. I finished my undergrads and legal studies. So after I graduated, I decided to come here. Well, we decided as a band that we
Hmm.
wanted to come here, record a CD, because things were getting pretty serious with the band.
Ah, okay.
Like, okay, let's go to the United States and record a CD. So we came here in 1997, play a few shows, and then spend all the money that our parents gave us, and went back to Colombia with no money. And,
All
so now what?
right.
So I took a whole year just to, stay at home, play with my friends, and then we decided to come back here because we liked it here so much.
Hmm.
We liked it. So it's great. And the shows we played, they were very good shows, like big bars with big bands back then.
Hmm.
I don't know if you ever heard of Toasters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
So we played them in Wetlands, a club in New York. Now it's closed, but it's
Okay.
a big club
Okay.
back in the day. We played for like about 1,000 people.
Oh wow.
As a new band coming over from South America, it's a big deal for us. We were like young,
Right.
as long as like 21 years old.
And so then, where did your career take you from there? What was your next job when you know,
So my friends decided that they wanted to start, part-time jobs. I started part-time job trying to focus more on the music career.
got it?
So but they took on like a full-time job. So I decided to just to spend more time working, where there was like weekends that we decided we wanted to practice, and they were like, no, we need to work or have this part-time thing. And now the band was like took on, they didn't want to keep on spending time with the band,
Mm-hmm.
and so. I'm like, no, man, I gotta go back. I can't live like this, just practicing like once a week and not playing any shows.
Right.
And so I decided to go back to Colombia, but it's a long story. But my friend from Florida actually is like, don't go back. I mean, come here and work with me. He owns back in the day he had a construction company.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, why don't you come here and work with me, and so we can make some money. So that way, when you go back, you have some capital to start a business or do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, let's do that. So, uh, sold all my things that I accumulated during, it was a period, maybe 1 or 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Had a car and a few things in an apartment, sold everything.
Now, where were you living at the time?
New Jersey.
In New Jersey. Okay.
Sold everything, and then I moved to Florida, to Orlando, to talk to my friend, to be with him and to work with him,
Mm-hmm.
supposedly. And so we were also young, so he had work, but he was a supervisor, so he didn't
Right.
have to go to work like a 9 to 5 type of deal. So he
Mm-hmm.
only went to the site to supervise. So he'll go like in the morning and then in the afternoon just to make sure everything was fine. But we ended up like just going out every night. Like we were partying like every night, even
Right.
during the week. we were so I ended up spending all my money instead of making any money.
So at the time though, you were working in the construction. What were you doing exactly?
So he has like a title in like flooring company.
Oh, okay.
But he's like, no, instead of me working, he just wanted me to be his like sidekick or something.
Right.
Going with him to different side jobs and so we one of the nights that we went out, we went to a nightclub, Latin club, and I met a girl there, and we ended up dating and getting married. And
Okay.
my chance to go back, like, we're like, well, I guess I stay. But yeah, that was back in 2001, maybe 2002.
Okay. And then eventually you got into banking?
Yeah, so it's a like say long story. When I first came here, I told my aunt. She's like, "What do you want to do?" Right? Because I was here like with a band and crazy guys from high school playing in bands. And I'm like, "What do you want to do?" I'm like, "Well, we want to play with the band as much as I can." But she said, "But that's not gonna give you money. You need to survive. You need to pay rent. You need to pay your stuff." And I said, "Well, I want to be a bank manager." Like I said it in a way that she's like, she's like, "Seriously, what do you want to do?" Like,
Right.
so I thought in South America, like in Colombia, a bank manager makes a lot of money, right? And they have these. It's a total different concept down there as far as banking.
Mm-hmm.
But I got into banking slowly. I started as a teller and then ended up being a manager.
Oh, okay. It's
In
all about where you set your goals, right?
Yeah. So words are strong. Like whatever you say, even if in a jokingly manner,
Yeah.
they have weight. They weight. So
Absolutely.
so I say that as I want to be a manager. I ended up being a manager after working a few years in a bank.
Mm-hmm.
I went from a teller to loan officer, personal banker, and then manager in New York. But it wasn't something it wasn't what I thought it was. It's one of those things that when you get, when you think about how you have expectations, some sort, right?
Right.
And then, but they're not what you think it was. So that's sort of like what happened to me in banking.
Right. You thought the job was going to be a certain way, and it turned out it really didn't meet your expectations.
Right, right. So I wasn't
The day-to-day minutia was just kind of different.
exactly. So, but so I decided that I didn't want to do the banking anymore. But and then how I got into coffee, that's the company I have now, is that one of my clients offered me a job to be in a coffee company,
Okay.
more like in a sales role,
Mm-hmm.
and I say okay, fine, yeah, let's do that. And so I did that for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I went back to South America, traveled a lot, met a lot of people, businesses and all that, and business owners.
Right.
And then came back here. I started an MBA back in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So I came back here just to wanted to finish the MBA, and I did at Regent University.
Oh, awesome.
And then during the process of being a student, I was working in the bank, and I said, well, while I work at the bank, I want to work part time doing the coffee business.
So were you still working for the person doing coffee sales, or is this when you started going to starting your own company?
No, I decided to go back to banking full time,
Oh, okay.
and so I
So
wasn't
you left
working.
that job. Okay.
I wasn't working for Malta's company anymore.
Okay.
So I was just doing my part time,
Right.
the coffee business, which I ended up buying a roaster,
Mm-hmm.
put it in the garage of my house.
Right.
I started roasting part time.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. It was kind of crazy at the beginning because now all the pipes were set up in the right way, so the house sometimes will like filled with smoke.
Right.
And
Just
neighbors
really.
will be knocking at the door, all concerned, like, "Are you alright in there?
Right. Right.
What kind of things are you smoking in there?"
That's kind of cool. I mean, you really started the business kind of from the ground up, right out of the garage.
Right, on the garage.
Right.
And I did that for a while, sell to friends and family members,
Mm-hmm.
and it took off from there.
And so, at some point in time, you had to make the decision to leave the banking job. Was it was that something that was you were really concerned about? Were you worried about whether the money was going to keep coming with the coffee business, or at that point were you firmly into the business? Where
Yeah.
you're making a profit.
It wasn't like I was making a little bit of money, not a lot of money, but enough for me to be confident that I didn't know I was gonna, like I guess in the entrepreneurial world, you never know anything for certain, right? You just have a hint, but you have to act on it, right? Like if you don't, you stay still waiting for things to happen, nothing's gonna happen out of the blue, right? Like, but you move a little bit, and then they'll give you a different perspective once you move.
Right.
And it's a matter of having goals, obviously. Like you cannot be going around like trying to fight 1,000 different battles without having that specific goal. You need to know why you are fighting those battles, right?
Right. Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Yeah, no, you're 100%. You gotta, if you don't have goals, you don't know where you're going. It's like going on vacation and not picking where you're going. You just start driving around.
Right, exactly.
So you gotta have that direction.
So that's one of the things. So we have establishing goals, like long-term goals and short-term goals, and have that vision, and every day trying to do something. Even working full time, every day you do a little bit at a time. Like, okay, so today I need to do this. That's gonna take me closer to the goal I set up.
Right. And so now you're at a point where you've got. It sounds like, it's all under one business, but you've got a lot of ventures. So you have the coffee line that you said right now there's a place in, did you say Newport News or Hampton?
Yeah, Newport News.
Newport News that's getting ready to open, that's going to be just selling your coffee.
Correct. That's going to be our storefront. It's going to be an art gallery, but we're going to be having our coffee shop inside the art gallery.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. When is the opening plan for that?
So April, we're planning to open in April.
And then you had mentioned to me too that you had a couple other coffee shops around here that are already featuring your coffee.
So we have Por Favor is a coffee shop that they have a location in Suffolk, and they have another location in Chesapeake. So they sell our coffee 100%. So we custom roast for them.
Right.
So custom roast, like everybody has I guess there's a way you can roast your coffee, right? But there's another. For instance, like you have a roast master that is gonna do like a dark roast, right? And consistently has the same profile. Like you take the coffee all the way to a dark roast. You take it from green to a dark roast, right? But then you can pull the coffee out of the roaster before it get dark. It's sort of like when you cooking a steak. You can do it like well done.
Right.
In that case, will be dark roast, right? And the steak also you can have medium. Same with coffee, you can have medium roast or light roast. Or custom roast is when you don't do it like medium or dark. You look in between, and they have a name for it. It's called like Vienna roast.
Okay.
So there's different ways to roast, and because once you get really into it, you have to work with how hot is the roaster before you introduce the beans, right? You could be a 400 Fahrenheit, but some people want to do a 380, right? Or some people they start the roaster from cold and then they go all the way up to where they want the coffee to be. So we do a custom roast for them. So it definitely changes the way the coffee tastes, because having the coffee coming from a good place where you know the coffee is good, it's just a percentage of what you're gonna get with the final cup.
So are you only importing one kind of bean, and it's the way you treat it that affects the taste of the coffee? How long you cook it, how long you roast it, or are you importing from multiple areas?
So coffee is kind of complicated. It is coming from a specific place that we already know is good. I travel to Colombia with friends, sometimes with even business partners, just to taste the coffee. We go to different farms, we visit different farms, and then we select the coffee. Depending on how good the coffee is, then we purchase from that farm the harvest from that specific farm. We can purchase it and bring it here to the Port of Virginia. Where we and then that's just part of it, right? So we know we're working with a good raw material that we can just implement the custom roast that I was telling you to get it even better But you definitely need a good raw material to work it.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you
and
need
then
good, you need good beans in order to
right, so it's a whole,
produce a quality
and then
product.
you also need a good barista that can
Mhm.
really appreciate what you have, and then that's what makes a really good cup of coffee.
Okay, that makes sense. And then now you also have this other division which is producing these CBD drinks.
Correct.
Now how so and where are you distributing those? Where would we find those?
We have different places here that would sell them. Like Heritage is a supermarket in Luskin Road. They
Mhm.
sell our drinks. E-Mart is another supermarket.
Mhm.
We are trying to close a deal with Wegmans, so
Okay.
they'll be purchasing some of the drinks. We sent samples maybe a month or so ago, but they like to keep the samples for like I believe 60 days or 90 days and see how the shelf stable,
That makes sense.
how the product reacts with I guess different temperatures and time and all that. So we working with them. A lot of different specialized shops around here, like Nature's Market,
Right.
um, smoke shops because of the CBD.
Right.
It's no, it doesn't get people high because it doesn't have THC,
Right.
which is
Right.
the compound in the cannabis flower that makes people high.
Right.
But CBD is mostly like has obviously we won't be able to sort of like make any claims as far as
Right, because if it doesn't
medicinal.
go through all the FDA stuff, you can't.
Right, FDA doesn't want you to say anything like that, but it's something that is becoming mainstream without even us trying to say anything, because people are really
Yeah.
looking at the benefits. We get testimonials back with people that try and say, okay, this helped me for arthritis or a pain
Yeah.
that I had in my back
All right.
or
yeah.
anxiety or things
I've
like
heard
that.
sleeping issues. And
Yeah,
I've even heard that it helps children who have epilepsy. That they
yeah,
said
it
that
does.
CBD can help control their epileptic seizures, which is awesome.
Yeah, and mainstream doctors like Dr. Gupta or Dr. Oz
Mm.
that they go on the shows talking about how good CBD is from different conditions that you might have, and that they're not promoting a specific brand. They have a
Right.
non-biased opinion about a product, and they just trying it even with their own staff. They give a girl like tinctures and creams and lotions and drinks to try, and just for her to give feedback without
Mhm.
even promoting any specific brand.
Right.
So the thing with CBD out there is like there's a lot of because it's not regulated by
Right.
the FDA. It is, but it's not. FDA sort of pretty much gave leeway to every state to regulate its own, like as far as the CBD
Mhm.
uh, goes. Every state will sort of like regulate that, and so here in the state of Virginia is heavily regulated as far as inspections and all that. If you don't have a
Okay.
license to sell CBD, then you get fined.
Okay, so you had to go get a special license in order to be able to produce this product.
Yeah, so the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Service here in Virginia,
Mhm.
you had to apply for a license for in our cases to manufacture.
Mhm.
Then if you're a grower or a farmer, then you have to apply for a license to grow, and
Did
then a license to distributor as well.
okay. Now, have they actually come here and done any inspections?
Yeah, they come here, they inspect the facility. They look at everything,
Okay.
how they look at our process. The process, it takes about for us it took like about 8 weeks
Ah, okay. That's good.
between back and forth. They need to know where you're getting your CBD, and they need to get lab results from every single drink that you or any product you have.
Right.
They have to have a copy of the lab results. Um, yeah, you have to go through a lot to get a license. It's not easy
Yeah,
to
it
get the
says.
license,
Yeah,
but
that's how the state works.
But that's how it's the state of Virginia works. The other
Right.
states will have different regulations until the FDA say, okay, well now this is the way it needs to be done.
Right.
But as of now, they're just letting every state to do their own thing.
Right. And so now I'm curious as far as what your vision is of the future. So of course, so you've got the coffee division, right, and you've got the CBD, and now you're going to have an actual storefront too. Where do you see yourself? 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road?
we want to keep doing manufacturing and keep digging into the CBD industry because it's fascinating. All the
Uh-huh.
things um, we study a lot about CBD before we were even getting into the business, and I was really fascinated by all the benefits he has as far as the medical benefits
Mm-hmm.
that it has, and not only CBD. CBD is just one compound of the flower
Mm-hmm.
in the cannabis. THC is another compound. People say that marijuana has medicinal effects, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's true, but it's not because of THC. It's because of the other compounds that are
Ah,
present
okay.
within the flower.
Mm-hmm.
So when they talk about medical marijuana, they're really talking about all the compounds that make the flower being beneficial for any alignment that you might have,
Right.
or any condition. But in reality, it's the CBD, the CBG, and the other compounds working together that makes you feel better. And there's still a lot of studies that are being done,
Right.
conducted by different universities, um, to look more into it. What is it that even they're talking about even cancer?
Mm-hmm.
The CBG and the CBD combined help people with cancer, certain types of cancer.
Like actually shrinking the cancer?
Yeah,
Really? That's interesting. I've never heard of that.
yeah. So they and so yeah, this if we look into maybe even Google and you look for some titles or studies that have been done for different universities or serious studies.
Mm-hmm.
You look CBG or CBD together, and you look into cancer studies that are done with mice and other animals.
So you were saying CBG?
Yeah, CBG is another compound.
Okay.
So CBG is like the matrix of the compounds. That's from where all the other compounds are created.
Okay.
So from CBG, that's the first early stages of the plant,
Mm-hmm.
and then as the flower develops, then the CBG will create THC, CBD, CBN,
Okay.
and then
Interesting.
the CBG. Once you get the flower, when you really send that flower to a lab, you only get 1% back of CBG.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything else has been converted into other compounds to do
Ah.
other tasks. But it's very strong, the CBG. So some people or some researchers have found a way to modify a seed where it has more CBG. So now they're coming out with this CBG compound, like it's highly concentrated
Right.
with CBG. That's what they've been working on. We have some business partners all the way in Vernon, and it's a what's the name of that state? Up north, Vermont.
Vermont. Okay.
Vermont. Sorry. I usually don't go over there, so
Okay.
so
Yeah, especially this time of year, it's cold up
yeah,
there.
it is probably very cold. So what they done is they have the largest facility that produce CBG in the
Right.
East Coast.
Okay.
So we're trying to come up with some sort of deal with them where we can work out. We have a system here, it's a proprietary formulation that we can make CBD or CBG into a water soluble.
Okay.
We create a process here in our company. So we're working with them where they will send us the oil, because once you press the flower, you get oil,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll convert that into a water soluble for them, which will have a better delivery in the body. And
Okay.
they're gonna use that to send it to a university that's doing some research on some different conditions,
Right.
um,
And
to help to find different ways to cure the human body that not necessarily has chemicals involved, or when you're taking something that is that has a lot of chemicals in it, there's gonna be side effects
Yeah. Absolutely.
and all that. But when you take things that that are you find in nature, side effects are just, especially for something like cannabis. The side effects is you get high.
Right.
But then the people found a way that, okay, let's take the get me high part out of the compound that gets people high out of the equation. So now
Right.
we have the whole mix together,
Right.
which doesn't have the THC, which people are not gonna get high, but they're still gonna get the benefits
Right.
of all the other compounds.
So that's where you see the company going from here, is kind of focusing on that niche, since it does seem like it's at the very beginning stage. I mean, we were all, the CBD thing seems like it's just taken over in the last
Yes.
couple years, 2, 3 years here, where it's really kind of going, universal.
Right. So that's where we really wanna start focusing on product research and development,
Okay.
getting new products out there, and manufacturing.
And you're going to keep the coffee business going also,
Yeah.
too.
So the coffee, it's not funny, but I think it's a great combination when you mix CBD and coffee.
Uh-huh.
Even when we send it to the lab reports, coffee really retain and absorbs all the CBD.
Okay.
So you get a higher certificate when you send it to a certificate analysis. They call it COA.
Uh-huh.
You get the results with the coffee. You get whatever you put in the coffee will absorb 100% of it.
Okay.
So it has a better absorption. In other words, your body will assimilate it in a different way when you mixing it with just water or a sport drink or something like that.
Right.
So coffee you help the body to assimilate it better, especially the CBD than when it's other drinks.
So as far as the like all the drinks that you're making now, are they all coffee based or?
No, they're not all coffee based,
Okay,
but we
'cause
do
I
have.
thought I'd seen some different flavors. And
Yeah,
stuff.
so we
Okay.
have the coffee, the iced coffee.
Uh-huh.
It's called pressed coffee with CBD. We also put nitrogen
Uh-huh.
to preserve its freshness, I guess. Um, we have a lemonade. We have strawberry lemonade.
Okay, so those ones are CBD but without the coffee.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
And no caffeine in those.
no caffeine.
Okay.
We are making an energy drink with
Mhm.
CBD that will have
Oh,
some
you are?
caffeine.
Okay.
But yeah, just mainly we have about 5 SKUs right now,
Mhm.
trying to get it to 7.
Okay.
Yeah, getting more product out.
Awesome. Well, absolutely fascinating, and I thank you so much for your time. I
No
really
problem.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And hopefully everybody learned a lot.
Yeah, sure.